Monster Energy star Yamaha Racing selects a fill-in rider for the 250 East region. Malcolm Stewart and Jason Anderson are both penalized one position each at the Daytona Supercross. And we have a multitude of riders, big name riders, that are coming up into contract years. We're going to talk about this and more on This Week in Moto, presented by Yoshimura. I'm your host, Michael Lindsay. So stepping into our first subject of the day, of course, yes, the Monster Energy star Yamaha Racing team has had a very rough beginning to the East region for a team that came in with 6 riders, 3 per coast. It looked like, man, there is no way that they wouldn't possibly win both championships or at least be competitive in both. While they still have that in the running for the West region with Christian Craig, of course, their 2 defending titleists with Justin Cooper and Colt Nichols were both injured right at the beginning of the year. Cooper preseason and Nichols at the very first race of the West region. Cooper was slated to race East Coast, which of course trimmed their East region team down to Jeremy Martin and the rookie Levi Kitchen. This did sort of lower their chances, of course, of going after the title, losing their defending titleist in Justin Cooper. But, of course, J Mart has a very strong shot at the championship and could be in the running depending on what happens with Jet Lawrence and Cameron McAdoo. However, due to a midweek crash leading up to Daytona, Jeremy Martin has injured his shoulder with a torn labrum. It does sound like he will be undergoing surgery, and with this, will miss the remainder of the Supercross series. Levi Kitchen was also injured at Texas, but a lot of people didn't know about it till the Monday after. The team themselves didn't know until after the race. Once I got back, Levi was still experiencing some pain in his knee when it got checked out, and from the best we heard, it sounds like he has a fractured kneecap. With this, Levi is questionable for the remainder of the Supercross series, and we're unsure if he will or will not return, or if he'll be waiting just till the outdoor series. With this long-winded explanation over, it is now clear that the Star Yamaha team needs to put somebody on the bike for the remainder of rounds. With a lot of these large teams, there is some sort of contract requirements in place by sponsors, probably such as Thor, Parts Unlimited, Monster Energy, FMF, and even Yamaha themselves, to at least put one motorcycle on the track. Because they are out of the championship, it does play to what type of rider do they really need. They have to weigh a few things. They need somebody that's competitive enough to put the bike directly into the mains and hopefully run top 10 and put on a good showing. But at the same time, they also understand that getting wins and podiums is going to be pretty far-fetched with any fill-in unless they literally buy somebody out of a contract within another team that's very competitive. So with this, they've decided to go with Kyle Chisholm. Kyle has had quite a few years with the Yamaha brand, sort of running his own program. And with him sort of being on his own program, he was able to get out of his own personal contracts, his own gear deal, and a few of his sponsors were able to let him out of the deals for him to pursue filling in for the star team for the rest of the 250 East region. Chisholm, of course, is a veteran, and one thing Chiz is known for, well, everybody jokes it, Chiz is gonna chiz. He will make main events, he will likely stay uninjured. The guy is just a workhorse. He may not be flashy, he may not be up there in the top 5, but with the amount of experience Chisholm has and as difficult as the East Coast tracks are, it would be no surprise to see Chisholm running anywhere from about a 5th or 6th position to probably around 10th, 11th, or 12th, which will be enough to, again, fulfill All-Stars' contracts and needs. They have Chisholm as a solid option that they believe will finish through the season. If they went for anything a little bit riskier, another young kid they want to give a shot to, there's a high chance that that rider would be injured and again leave Star looking for another fill-in before the season's up. We also saw comments relating to why would they not go after somebody under, say, the Muck-Off FXR Club MX team, such as like Enzo Lopes or Phil Nicoletti. That is now a large enough team with enough financial backing and contracts in place that it would be fairly expensive, and also in the sense of Yamaha to Yamaha teams, it would be robbing good talent from that program. They would have to buy out that rider's contract so the team could then probably repay some sponsors for having one less guy on the track. So again, the Chisholm thing was just a very easy and obvious option for him, and Kyle's extremely dependable. Also, other news from Daytona is the fact that Jason Anderson and Malcolm Stewart both docked one position each after the main event, relegating them from, instead of 7th and 8th place respectively, to 8th and 9th, moving Ken Roxon up from 9th to 7th in the overall standings for the night. The AMA reasoning for both riders being docked was position or advantage gained from off-track excursions. Malcolm's is fairly obvious to us, as after the finish line in the first lap, when Jason Anderson got into Tomac, who kind of got into Malcolm and bumped Malcolm off track, he ran down the side of that rhythm lane, got back on track, and took out Jason Anderson. Like I said, again, the penalty is not actually for the aggressive riding that Malcolm Stewart performed, as of course he's been on the ground from situations relating to Jason Anderson. The AMA stayed clear of that. They quote as the reason for his penalty for gaining an advantage off track. We personally did not see Jason Anderson's off-track excursion. We did notice maybe once or twice in Maine where he got bumped off, but at some point the AMA also reasoned that he had gained an advantage while running alongside the track and also chose to dock him one position. Again, none of these penalties actually have anything to do with the aggressive moments or the incidents that we've seen between these two riders throughout the year. However, there has been quite a few, so we're starting to wonder at what point will the AMA get involved, and if there will possibly be some sort of penalty or some sort of probation period for either of those riders going forward if we continue to see these types of incidents happen. Lastly, we're going to touch a little bit on rider contracts today. This will be a subject actually of next week's episode in a little more detail, but we do know a few big names that are coming up on contract. The largest one of such, which seems to be the largest question mark in our sport at the moment, is what Ken Roczen will do. From what we're aware, Ken Roczen is currently running through the final year of his HRC Honda contract, which is set to expire after outdoors of this 2022 season, leaving him as a free agent moving into 2023. However, there's a lot of questions and motivation behind Roczen racing, what his current health status is. As everybody we've kind of talked to that would have any sort of contract negotiation going on with him says the camp's been quiet and there's not a lot of word on maybe what he wants to or doesn't want to do going forward. We've also asked him, from what we're aware, he has one more year left on his Red Bull contract, which would actually take it through 2023, which would then limit some of his options on what teams he could go ride for. However, we imagine with any contract in the sport, if both parties really agreed that it was best to split for the future, we could see Red Bull allowing him out of that deal if there was a certain situation that came up that Ken really wanted to do to go racing forward. Another rider who we believe is out of contract, but we've heard conflicting information on the last couple weeks is Dylan Ferrandis. His current Yamaha contract is coming to an end, and he either has kickers in his contract that allow for an automatic re-sign, or he has the ability to negotiate. We have heard that he may have re-signed in the last week or two, and we've also heard talk of him maybe investigating one or two other options available to him. Eli Tomac, on the other hand, did enter the Monster Energy Star Yamaha program on a one-year contract with a one-year option. We heard early in the season, by probably about the 5th or 6th round, that Eli is enjoying his current situation so much already that he has already taken up that option, and we will see him with the team in 2023. Another question mark would be Christian Craig, also of the Monster Energy Star Yamaha Racing program. His contract is just for this year with a 250 indoor ride and a separate contract for his 450 outdoor ride with the same team. He does have the ability to defend his position or defend his title if he is to win it this year in the 250 West region, which would allow him to stay on a 250 for one final year before being forced to the 450 class. But from everything we've heard, Christian would actually prefer to go 450 full-time next year, which again leaves the question mark, is there an extra third spot available at Monster Energy Star Yamaha Racing? Or will he investigate other options, such as maybe Ken Roczen's spot at HRC or other items that could become available? A few other riders that come to mind: Rockstar Energy Husqvarna. Styles Robertson admitted in the press conference today that he is in a contract year himself, albeit Styles is having a great start to the season, so we would see it very likely that he could get re-signed or maybe even get offers from other teams, such as possibly Pro Circuit Kawasaki or the Monster Energy Star Yamaha program. And lastly, we believe that Dean Wilson is also in a contract year with Rockstar Energy Husqvarna. Based on some prior conversations we've had or stuff we've heard in the past, we're not sure, again, where Dean's motivations are, if he would like to maybe move to a Supercross-only contract, try to go after the new Global Supercross Series, or if he may get close to calling time on his career. Thanks for joining us on This Week in Moto. Again, next week we'll talk about whatever the latest news is, and we're going to touch a little bit more on some of the rider contracts after we ask around a little bit and kind of get a more complete list on who is looking for deals this year and who's already locked down. If you like this feature, make sure you hit subscribe and like so you catch up with all the news we put out there, along with all the tech features and product reviews we do. And if you want to learn more about what's going on in the sport and keep up to date, check out our website at vitalmx.com.